It's hard to believe it, but it's been about 9 years now, nearly a decade since one of the all-time great World Series performances. During the 2014 Fall Classic, San Francisco Giants lefty Madison Bumgarner was beyond good. He was pretty much untouchable, and his heroic efforts to net the Giants not one, not two, but 3 games in that series against the Kansas City Royals have since become the stuff of legend. So, where's Madison today? Putting the finishing touches on a Hall of Fame career, leading a new team to the postseason like Nate Eovaldi, celebrating a pennant with the upstart Arizona Diamondbacks? Not exactly. He's back on his ranch in rural North Carolina and seemingly out of the game entirely at just age 34. Despite being barely into the 4th season of a 5-year, $85 million contract, the Diamondbacks decided to put the former World Series MVP out to pasture after only 4 appearances in 2023. No other team has signed him, even with the Diamondbacks pretty much footing the bill through 2024. That's right, after ascending to one of the highest possible peaks in baseball and helping lead the Giants to 3 World Series championships, Bumgarner was DFA'd just like any other aging veteran, whose stuff had deserted him, and his stuff certainly has done that since his illustrious heyday. Madison Bumgarner grew up in a log house in rural North Carolina in an area called Bumtown because of the large number of German immigrants to the area who also had his surname. It was Madison himself though who put Bumtown on the map. As a dominant high school pitcher, Bumgarner would be named the Gatorade North Carolina Player of the Year. He was a highly touted prospect, earning the nickname Mad Bum due to his intense competitive nature and ability to overpower hitters with his then mid-90s fastball from a low arm slot. He attracted so much attention from scouts that his father, who also built their log house, erected a wall around his high school bullpen to keep out the distractions. The San Francisco Giants selected Bumgarner in the 1st round, with a 10th overall pick in the 2007 MLB draft. He rose quickly through the minors, pairing his 4-seam fastball with a sleek cutter, a sharp curve, and the occasional changeup. What's more, despite his young age, he seemed to have an even-keeled nature that lent itself well to the big stage, often showing balls of steel in tight situations that would make a player 10 years his senior crumble. That's part of the reason why, at just age 20, he was called up to make his major league debut pitching against the San Diego Padres in September 2009, the 2nd youngest pitcher ever to start a game for the Giants. He would go on to make 4 appearances, posting a cool 1.80 ERA in his first taste of big league baseball. Bumgarner was called up again in June the following season, pitching well enough to earn a full-time spot in the Giants' rotation by August. The Southpaw responded with that signature grit, posting an ERA of just 1.13 in 5 September starts during the Giants' successful run to the National League West Division Championship, while earning a spot on Baseball America's 2010 All-Rookie team. But it was in the postseason that Madison was at his best. In his first taste of the World Series that year, he posted 8 scoreless innings, striking out 6 and allowing only 3 hits in a Game 4 victory over the Texas Rangers. He was the 5th youngest pitcher to ever start a World Series game, and his performance gave the Giants a 3-1 series lead, en route to winning their first World Series championship in San Francisco. In 2011, his first full season in the majors, the young Bumgarner solidified his spot in the Giants' rotation with a 3.21 ERA, 2.67 FIP, and 8.4 Ks per 9 over more than 200 innings. He, however, did not get a lot of run support. In fact, he had a 12-1 record in the games in which the Giants' offense scored 3 or more runs, but a 1-12 one when they didn't. Since it was an odd-numbered year, the Giants didn't make it to the World Series, but Bumgarner and his team came roaring back in 2012. The 22-year-old lefty pretty much replicated his success of the prior season, though now with much better run support, netting him a 16-7 record while posting a 3.37 ERA and striking out 191 batters in 208 innings. He struggled in the NLDS and NLCS to the tune of allowing 10 earned runs in just 8 full innings, but the Giants still emerged victorious, and faced the AL champion Detroit Tigers in the World Series, where for the 2nd time out of the last 3 years, Bumgarner went to work. In Game 2, he mowed down the Tigers, striking out 7 and giving up only 2 hits en route to pitching 7 scoreless innings in a 2-0 victory. He became the first pitcher to begin his World Series career with 15 scoreless innings, since another southpaw, Bruce Hurst, did so back in 1986. The Giants swept the series for their 2nd title in 3 seasons, giving Bumgarner 2 World Series rings, with somehow an even brighter future laying ahead. The Giants predictably had another off year in 2013, again it being an odd-numbered year, but Bumgarner was better than ever. He made his first All-Star team, posted career bests in ERA at 2.77, WHIP at 1.03, and strikeouts at 199. Again, due to a lack of run support, he only managed to win 13 games. And then came the year that would cement the legend of Mad Bum. 2014 would again see him raise the bar in the regular season, posting an 18-10 record with a 2.98 ERA and 219 strikeouts in 217 1/3 innings, his first full season with a K per 9 above 9. He finished fourth in voting for the NL Cy Young Award after the campaign, but it was the postseason, as usual, where Bumgarner would shine most, and brighter than ever. It started with the critical 4-hit shutout against the Pittsburgh Pirates in the NL wildcard game that allowed the Giants to advance to the NLDS against the Nationals. Bumgarner suffered a rare loss in that series, but when the Giants advanced to the NLCS to face the Cardinals, he rebounded, throwing 7 2/3 shutout innings in a Game 1 victory, before limiting the Cards to 3 runs in 8 innings in Game 5, being named the NLCS MVP as a result, as the Giants advanced to their 3rd World Series in 5 years. It's hard to overstate just how much Madison Bumgarner meant to his team in the 2014 WS against the Kansas City Royals. Did he win it by himself? Not exactly, but he did take his team and put it on his back in a way that few pitchers ever have. It started with a Game 1 victory in which he allowed 1 run in 7 dominant innings. Bumgarner was somehow even better in Game 5, hurling a complete game 4-hit gem of a shutout. As if that wasn't enough, Bumgarner returned on 2 games rest to pitch in relief in Game 7, but not just for the customary inning or two. With the game on the line and the Giants up by 1 run, manager Bruce Bochy signaled for Bumgarner in the 5th inning. After giving up a single to Omar Infante, Madison would proceed to mow down 14 consecutive hitters with the championship on the line. Then, with the tying run on 3rd in the 9th inning and 2 outs, Bumgarner was left in to face Royals catcher Salvador Perez. Salvi had the platoon advantage against a guy who had thrown more than 270 pitches in a 7-game span, but it wouldn't matter. Bumgarner induced a foul pop-up that ended the game, giving the Giants yet another championship, their 3rd in just 5 seasons. Mad Bum's incredible 5 scoreless innings earned him perhaps the most impressive save in recent baseball history, and after finishing the series with a 2-0 record and a minuscule 0.43 ERA, he was named World Series MVP. All told, Bumgarner gave up just 1 run in 21 World Series innings. He looked nearly invincible at this point, and as clutch as any pitcher had ever been. And over the next 2 seasons with the Giants, his success continued, even if his teams finally ran out. In 15 and 16, Bumgarner put together 2 more All-Star caliber years, going a combined 33 and 18 with just a 2.83 ERA, while posting nearly 10 Ks per 9 and ERA pluses over 130 each season over that span as well. By age 27, he had 100 career victories and an ERA of 2.99. He looked like he might be headed for the Hall of Fame, until, at the relatively young age of 27, Mad Bum started to undergo one of the most hair-raising declines in recent memory. There were some early signs in Bumgarner's final few seasons with the Giants that something strange was happening. For one, his fly ball rate was increasing noticeably. From 2010 to 2015, Bumgarner gave up fly balls on only 35% of batted balls. However, that rate rose to 40.1% in his final 4 seasons as a Giant, the 28th highest in baseball. But perhaps that was understandable. Hitters were starting to increase launch angles during that period to elevate more balls. And at least he had the friendly confines of Oracle Park to let a lot of those deep fly balls go to die. But Bumgarner's strikeout rate was also declining during that period. From his peak of 10 K per 9 in 2016, he fell all the way to just under 8 2 seasons later. And if that wasn't worrying enough, by 2019, his last year with the Giants, hitters were hitting the ball noticeably harder against him as well. He was in the 10th percentile in hard hit rate and the 9th percentile in average exit velocity against. What's more, a number of injuries seem to have somewhat sapped his stuff, including his fastball, which averaged about 93 miles per hour in 2014, before coming to sit closer to 90 in 2019, while his curveball had lost about half of its vertical movement over that same span as well. His cutter was quickly becoming his only plus pitch. Still, he did manage to post a 3.54 ERA over those final 3 seasons on some pretty bad Giants teams, so nobody was ready to throw in the towel on Mad Bum yet. In fact, the Arizona Diamondbacks decided to throw a 5-year, $85 million contract offer at him instead, in what was then the 2nd biggest free agent deal in team history. It was questionable even at the time, as Bumgarner was 30 years old and already logged a lot of innings and dealt with those aforementioned injury issues in recent years, but he was still a big name with some decent numbers, who had the potential to be a veteran leader on a young, talented D-back squad. Then the COVID pandemic shut down the start of the 2019 season, and Bumgarner fell off the grid in North Carolina. By the time things restarted that summer, he was seemingly out of shape, with the results to prove it. A 6.48 ERA in 9 starts in 2020, and a fastball velocity that clocked in at a career worst 88.4 miles per hour. It seemed like it was now time to start getting legitimately worried, but 2020 was a write-off for a lot of reasons, and for a lot of players, and Bumgarner pledged to return in 2021 ready to play. He did end up posting a more respectable 4.67 ERA on a lousy team, even managing to throw a 7-inning no-hitter against the Braves in a doubleheader, but he was still nowhere close to the dominant level he had once been at, nor even where he was 2 years prior. Unlike some veteran pitchers, who learn to pitch with reduced velocity and get batters out in new and more creative ways, Bumgarner never really could seem to make the adjustment. In fact, it seemed as if he was still trying to do what he had always done, and it just wasn't working anymore. In 2022, tensions between Bumgarner and the Arizona coaching staff seemingly grew from what had been consistent mild conflict throughout 21, which may have been somewhat responsible for the 32-year-old having yet another abysmal season, posting a 7-15 record with a 4.88 ERA, while giving up a major league leading 50 doubles. Then, in 2023, after making just those atrocious 4 starts with a 10.26 ERA, the Diamondbacks released Bumgarner back into the North Carolina countryside. So, what exactly did go wrong for Bumgarner? Injuries? Maybe partially. He did miss considerable time in both the 17 and 18 seasons. Diminishing stuff as a result, his stuff did see some decline following. Perhaps it was the fortunes of his clubs falling so far that he became dejected and detached. He always did seem to perform best under the brightest lights. But let's not beat around the bush. Everyone ages differently, and for Mad Bum, Father Time came calling early. But that didn't have to stop him on its face. Clayton Kershaw is a great comp here, as he too is a big lefty from the South, whose dominant fastball largely deserted him by his early 30s. However, where Clayton managed to adapt his repertoire accordingly, Madison was not. They even shared 2/3 of the same pitches, a 4-seamer and a curveball, but perhaps the greatest separator between them was in that third offering, which for Kersh became a dominant slider, that he now throws nearly as often as his heater, and for Mad Bum, his cutter, which registered as one of baseball's most hittable pitches over the last few seasons. With perhaps a couple tweaks that may have even been suggested to him along the way by the D-backs, he might have managed to maintain relevancy into his mid-30s. But alas, those tweaks were not to be. And now, at just 33, no one seems to know what's going to come next for the Southpaw. Bumgarner's career is now likely over, in which case he would finish with a total of 134 wins, a 3.47 ERA, and a B-WAR of 37.3 to go along with more than 2,000 strikeouts. Not too shabby, but definitely nowhere near the Hall of Famer people were theorizing he could be back in 2014. In this way, maybe he was more Carlos Zambrano than Clayton Kershaw, a young player who dominated the world for a while, only to see himself out of the game without much seeming desire to get back in. We all know more than likely some middling team would have picked him up in 23 had he wanted to lace up his cleats once more. How about the A's? They'd kill for a recognizable name who has major pull in the Bay Area for the league minimum. But as of now, it really does seem like we've seen the last of Madison. Hey, maybe it was for the best. With the DH gone, we already weren't going to see any more mad bombs anyway, right? Now, thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and click this playlist for other essay content just like this. Have a great day, everyone.